If you're looking for any plugins, presets, extensions to save you time and create awesome videos, my digital asset store is at the top of the description. Unreal Engine 5 is a big deal. You've probably heard all the hype around its amazing features, but as we all know, learning new software can be tricky. So today I'm going to show you how you can easily create a music video or cinematic short film using Unreal Engine 5. We're going to go over characters, lighting, cameras, environments, even full face and body motion capture without the need for an expensive motion capture suit. Oh, and by the way, every software and asset shown in this video is 100% free. Just click the link in the description to get the Epic Games launcher. From there, you can download Unreal Engine and you have access to the marketplace. So if you guys do enjoy, slap a like on the video to help boost with the YouTube algorithm, subscribe for more content like this, and let's hop right in. All right, guys, so let's get started. Once you've downloaded the Epic Games launcher, you can come over to the Unreal Engine tab. You want to go over to Library, and from here, you can download the latest version of Unreal Engine 5. You can see your projects here as well as your vault. These are all of the assets that you download from the Unreal Engine marketplace. You can find that by clicking here. Now from here, it's a good idea to go over to free. They have this free for month tab where you guys can pick up some really useful stuff. I downloaded this Orca Games full animation bundle, super useful. So make sure you pop in here, check for some freebies. Now, other than that, you guys should also pick up the MetaHumans plugin. Part 1 of this tutorial is adding in our 3D character. For that, I'm going to use the in-house MetaHumans plugin. If you guys want to follow along, go ahead and click MetaHumans plugin and click Add to Engine. Of course, this is optional. You guys can use any 3D character from any 3D software. So once you've done that, let's go ahead and launch Unreal Engine. Now, a lot of people like starting out with a completely blank project, creating the environment from complete scratch. There's tons of tutorials out there. If you guys are brand new, I recommend you go over to Games and just fire up a blank project here. It's going to add the lighting and a basic little environment. So go ahead and name your project and click Create. If it's your first time starting up Unreal Engine, this is going to take a while to compile the shaders. So don't be thrown off by the fact that it may take 15-20 minutes on your first startup. Once you've gotten that out of the way, the next time you start up Unreal Engine, it'll be a lot more snappy. Once you fired up this blank project, you're going to see you have your lighting already built in, directional light, your height fog, and if you really did want to build this from scratch, you just have to go up to Window, Place Actors, and you can search for any of these things here in your Place Actors screen. So if you wanted a directional light, you can find it there. Now, in terms of navigating, again, for complete beginners, hold down right click and you use WASD, just like any computer game. You can use Q and E to move up and down. Very simple. So again, ignore all of this for now. Once we talk about the environment section of this tutorial, we'll swing back and go through lighting from scratch. For now, let's go ahead and add in a 3D character so that we have our subject. We can start to build the story of our music video and then work and build from there. So like I mentioned at the beginning, for my 3D character, I'm going to be using the MetaHumans plugin. This is 100% free. You just have to open up a browser, search for MetaHumans on Google, and then you can open it up and create a custom MetaHuman. I also have another tutorial that I'll link below showing you how to create a MetaHuman in the likeness of somebody else. It's not perfect, but it is a great step-by-step guide on creating a custom MetaHuman. So if you're interested in that, link down below. So once you've designed your MetaHuman online, to actually bring it into Unreal Engine, you need to use the Quixel Bridge. So go up to Edit, go over to Plugins, and search for this Quixel Bridge plugin. It should be here by default. If it's not, maybe search the marketplace, but make sure this is checked on. Once you've done that, you can open up your content drawer here. You can right click in your content bin. You can go up to Add Quixel Content, and it'll open up the Quixel Bridge. So this is a free software. You have 13,000 of these high quality assets that you guys can use for free as long as you're using it only within Unreal Engine. I think it's called the Unreal Unlimited plan. So make sure you go in the top right and sign into your Epic Games account. Over these assets, if it's your first time, instead of seeing download, you may see a little link that clicks over to the Quixel page. So go ahead and link that up so you guys can use this yourself. And in here, you're going to see you have tons of 3D assets, you have tons of materials, and you also have collections of different types of environments that you guys can pick and choose from. So super useful. So to bring in our character, you're going to see this MetaHumans tab in your Quixel Bridge. So click here. And once you've done that, you should see this My MetaHumans tab. This is all the custom MetaHumans that you worked on before. If you're not seeing this tab, again, make sure you're signed in to be able to see that. Select the MetaHuman that you'd like to import. At first, it should say download instead of add. Make sure you click and download that asset to your computer. Once that's gone through, you can go ahead and click add. All right, so once all your shaders have downloaded here, we'll go to content drawer and we're gonna go back to that MetaHumans folder. Again, right here under content, MetaHumans folder that corresponds to the name of your custom character. And here's our blueprint actor. I'll go ahead and just drag this in. And there I am. Again, first time it may compile a little bit. So let's click, let's rotate, face it like right here. And we're gonna set up a basic little music video scene just from this. If I scroll up in my object bin, see we have our landscape. Can take that away. Let's just hide all this stuff for now. So this is our lighting folder. Let's just go ahead and hide this folder for now. So it's gonna go completely black, cannot see anything. And let's set up our basic music video scene. We're gonna start off by talking about lighting. To add lights into our scene, you wanna go up to Window, and you wanna click on the Place Actors window. Let's go ahead and just search for light. So you have a bunch of different lights here. We're gonna go with a rectangular light. So the thing about 3D softwares, it's mimicking real life. So the way you would go about lighting a music video scene in real life is the exact same way you would light a cinematic music video scene in your 3D engine. So we can take this light, this is going to be our key light. We can rotate it so we have a tiny bit of angle going towards the face like this. And we can sort of point it at the side of our face. And that's super bright here. So let's click on that rectangle light. I'll rename this to key light. And you guys can go through all of the parameters here for moving things around actor, or if you want, you can just go to the specific tab. So we'll go to rendering. You have this intensity meter here. Set it to 4, so we'll have it. We're going to go ahead and select this. We're going to click Control D to duplicate that. And we're going to set up our 3-point light setup. Very basic little lighting setup in real life that can give us a nice cinematic look. So this is going to be our fill light. It'll fill in some of the lighting on the other side of our face here. And if you're getting this weird glitchiness whenever you're far away or close up, just select your MetaHuman. And I've just scrolled down and checked on this net load on clients. It should fix this issue. So now what we want to do is we want to add one more light to our 3-point lighting setup. So here's our key light. This is our fill light, which is just filling in light on this side of the face. So again, if this wasn't here, see all the shadows, which may be nice if you're going for like a dramatic look with your music video. But if you want nice even lighting, turn that on for now. Let's click Control D and we'll move this in the back. And this is going to be our backlight. All right, so a nice, easy 3-point lighting setup, similar to how you would have it in real life to get your nice, even lighting, easy music video setup just by controlling your lights. Again, if you want something dramatic, maybe hide your fill lights. If you want something more creative, maybe add in different colors to your light. So we'll go to our key light here. Here's your light color. You know, you can have blue. You can bring back your fill lights, get something like that. So it's really that simple to get up and running. See this sort of setup with your split lighting, just a blank background in a ton of different music videos. I'll show you later on once we add an animation, how we can have our facial performance, how we can add some motion to the body so it's not just a static character standing there. The next thing we need to talk about to create our cinematic music video is a camera. So go up in the top left again for this window, you go to Window, Place Actors, and we're going to search for Camera. And we're going to drag in a Cinecamera actor. So let's place that right there. Go ahead and rotate this and we'll place it here. All right, so let's go here. If you want the straightforward shot, you can. If you want to make it a bit more cinematic, you guys can rotate a bit, give it a tiny bit of angle. And then let's switch over to our camera view. So we can click on this perspective button and we can switch over to this place camera. So here's our Cinecamera. And then from here, you see everything's out of focus. You have your aperture, your focal length. You can change your lens settings, everything just like a real world camera. Let's open up focus settings and you can turn on this debug focus, and that's going to allow you to see where the focus is on your camera. So we can click this dropper, click here, it's going to automatically put that in focus. And you see if we just kind of grab this, move it left and right, you can select different parts of the face. So we're turning up that debug. And then our aperture, again, is set to 2.8. If you really want to blur things in the background or anything that's not out of focus, you can lower that. Usually 1.8 is a good bet. You can see that blurring going on. We don't have anything in the background right now. It's just blank. So right now I'm noticing our fill light is way too bright. We want to add some cinematic shadows onto our face. So let's go to fill light and let's take the intensity and maybe make that like 0.5. And that looks a lot more natural. And again, you guys can play around with the lighting. There's no set way to do things. This is just complete basics. Again, if you want those creative colors, really depends on the story that you're going for, the mood that you're going for. So that is your basic music video 3-point lighting setup. And again, let's go for like a more creative look here. Very simple, looks great. Key thing to remember, it mimics real life. All right, so pretty easy so far. We have our camera, we have our 3-point lighting setup. Let's go ahead and set up a sequencer so that we can actually turn this into a movie. So what we're gonna do is we're going to go up in the top left and we're gonna click on this little clipboard and click Add Master Sequence. So you can see here, it's going to give you a number of shots. So you can create multiple shots, multiple cameras, multiple cuts. Very useful. For now, we'll keep it easy. We'll just click Create Master Sequence. And you're going to see it's going to give you 5 different clips here, each from this current view that you're looking at. So what I'm going to do is delete these 5 shots. We don't need these for now. So I'll right click, delete, and we're going to create our own custom shot. So we'll go to our first frame. And first off, what we want to do, we want to make sure that this camera and this camera view is set in our sequencer. To do that, you want to select the camera that you want in your sequencer, go over to this track button, go to actor to sequencer, and whatever you have selected is automatically going to show up right here. Pretty easy. So we'll click to add that in. And now we're looking at our camera perspective. If you ever want to pop in and out of that, you can click this little button. It's going to unlock the view. So this is camera perspective. That means if we move around, it's going to move the camera. If you pop out, now we can freely move. So let's click in here. If you guys want to record the scene, just click record. And you're going to see our sequencer is going to record whatever is in frame of our camera. So now we have a little clip. Pretty easy. All right, so we have our first shot in there. What if you want to add a different type of shot? Let's go in here, pop off our camera view. Say, for example, you want the camera back here and you want it to animate and move in towards the actor or follow the actor or have some type of movement. Now to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to create another shot. So we'll leave this master sequence how it is. We don't want to touch it. We're going to go up to our clipboard again, and we're going to click Add Level Sequence. Moving camera shot 1, save that, and it's going to open up a fresh slate for us. In this scene, we can do the same thing we did to set up our camera. Just select it, click Track, Actor to Sequence, and add in the cinema camera. And now you should be seeing what the camera is seeing, and we can just change things around. So let's open up this transform value under our camera component. Let's open up location, and then let's just take the Y value and move it back for however far we want. And then we'll go ahead and close this. And you see all these little buttons next to here. These allow you to set keyframes. So it's going to lock in this position data for this frame. So for our transform, we want our camera to start right here. Click to create a keyframe. Let's drag maybe 45. Let's open up location, zoom in and reposition maybe. And then again, click to set your keyframes. So we've just created a little animation. Scroll up here. And again, you can unlock the camera view to visualize this a bit better. We have a little camera animation of it moving and zooming in forward. So that's how you can keyframe in specific things for your camera. If you want to add in motion, let's again pop back to our camera view. You can do this with any type of value. So say, for example, you don't want it to start out blurry. You can scroll down here and at the very first frame where you're blurry right here, we can, instead of opening up transform, we can go over to the manual focus distance. Now we don't want to mess anything up because at the end here, it's already good. So let's go to where we're close to the face right there and make sure our distance is locked in just by clicking to create a keyframe. Now let's go to the beginning and we can change this. So just change it until we're in focus. Again, to lock that in, you want to click to set that keyframe. And now it's going to stay in focus from the start to the finish. So you guys can keyframe your focus. You can keyframe the location and movement of the camera or any other objects, any actor that's within this. Now to add this to your master sequence, let's just click here, go to your sequence master, scroll up to where it says shots. Click this plus sign and you have this giant drop down where you can select from all the different shots you want. So here's the moving camera shot 1, and it's just going to automatically add that in. And you guys can piece it together like you're editing a normal video. So super useful for working with multiple shots in a specific scene or working with multiple cameras. It's easy to switch back and forth between different camera angles, and it's easy to keep everything organized within its own sequence. You can just double click in there and you see now we're in this sequence and we can go back and forth. It's kind of like nesting in Adobe Premiere. So other than that, you guys can change the frames per second here. So if you want like 60, if you want things to be looking modern, fast, I like the classic 24 frames per second film right here. Everything looks a lot more realistic with the motion blur. And that is our basics. Of course, there's so much more you guys can look into, but we're talking about how to make a music video. So let's move on to number 3. We're going to circle back to the sequencer at the end to talk about our render settings and actually making this a movie that we can export out. But for now, we need to talk about building environment. We just have a blank black background. How do we actually go in and build a nice looking scene? So you have 3 options for creating an environment in Unreal. Option number 1, you can use basic primitives. You can scale them around to basically block out the scene that you're trying to create. Once you have the basic blocking of your environment and your scene down with the primitives, you guys can use the Quixel assets to either add materials to those primitives, or you can just drag in pre-built assets in the shape that you've already designed to build an environment from scratch. There's a great tutorial for this. I'm going to link it down below. He talks about the blocking process with the primitives. He talks about adding materials, adding decals to fit the story that you're trying to create. So again, a link to that will be down below. Now, option number 2, you guys can use a lot of the landscape, a lot of the foliage tools that are available within Unreal to create an environment from scratch. Now, again, like the first method, there's a ton of environment tutorials for Unreal Engine 5 already out there. It's probably the most prevalent type of tutorial you can find for this. So I recommend you guys watch an environment tutorial for the specific environment you're trying to create if you do choose this method. And then option number 3, you guys can use marketplace content or any 3D objects that you may have modeled or downloaded online to build your environment from scratch. So what I did is I downloaded one of those monthly freebies. In my case, it was this construction site pack. Again, usually in those monthly freebies, one of them is always going to be some type of environment. So to add that into your project, go back to the Epic Games launcher, go to library and scroll all the way down to Vault. This is where all of the free purchase content is at. All you have to do is select it, click add to project, and then select the project that you're working in. So that's the method I'm going to use just because it's a lot faster and easier. Again, if you guys want to take the time to put in those meticulous details, follow those 2 tutorials down below. Now, secret bonus tip, and this is a big one, don't be afraid to mix other softwares into your workflows. If you can't pull something off in Unreal Engine, then port it into Blender or any other 3D software that you're comfortable with, and then port it back into Unreal. Think of Unreal Engine as your real-time virtual production engine, but don't neglect things like Blender, which in my opinion is an ultimate 3D Swiss Army tool. For example, if I want a cyclone for my music video, I can go into Blender, use the easy modeling tools there, export it out as an FBX, and then pop back into Unreal Engine and import it back in. So I'm going to create a basic little scene here with that construction site marketplace content. So I'm just going to drag and drop the assets in to create a basic little music video setup. I can drag in this piece of the ground, click Control D and just move it to both sides to extend it a bit. They even have this smoke simulation, which is pretty cool. It gives it a bit more atmospheric feel. For the back wall, I'm just going to add in a basic cube and use the scale tool just to extend along the length of our scene. And then I can go into my material section for that construction site project and drag in a wall texture for the cube. And that's really about it. So we have our basic music video set. Have fun with that. So now let me show you how to add facial and body motion capture to our character. That way we can have a full performance of our song acted out by our metahuman. And for this, you won't need any fancy expensive equipment. We're not going to use a motion capture suit. Of course, you can if you want more control over the performance. In my case, I'm just going to use some preset animations, specifically that Orca Games animation bundle that was free for the month. I'll be using that for our performance body animation. And for the face, I'm just going to use the built-in LiveLink plugin, which allows you to control the face of your character using an iPhone. So let's start out with the facial motion capture. You want to go up to Edit Plugins, and you want to search for the LiveLink plugin and make sure that's enabled. You may also want to search for AR Face Kit and make sure that's enabled in your plugins as well. Once you've done that, you need to go on your App Store if you're using iPhone. I'm not sure if you can do this for Android. So I'll download the LiveLink app. I'll fire it up. We need to click on the gear cog here and enter in an IP address. To find your IP address, So you can do that on Windows by just going down and typing in your search bar CMD and clicking enter. And then in your command prompt, just type in ipconfig, and whatever the IP4 address is, that's your IP address. So just type that IP address into your settings for your LiveLink app. So once you have that connected to your IP, select your Blueprint actor in Unreal, go down to the LiveLink section and just check on Use ARKit Face. And then for the AR face subject, click that little drop down and you should see your iPhone. So select it and we should now be linked up. So pretty cool. You guys can control your facial animations just like that. So we're going to move on and talk about body animation for now. And then after that, we'll talk about how to combine the LiveLink face with the body animations and place them all in our master sequence so that we can export it together. So for your body animation, again, if you do not have a motion capture suit, you guys could stick to using free assets. Again, I mentioned earlier, the free for the month is that Orca Games animation. There's a few basic talking animations in there, which will work fine for this. So like I did with the construction sites, I'm going to go to my vault and just click add to project. The main thing you want to look out for to make sure it's compatible, whenever you're on the page in the marketplace, scroll down and make sure it says rig to Epic Skeleton. Yes. So to add those Unreal Engine preset animations to our MetaHuman, first of all, we want to right click on our Blueprint actor in our object menu, go to browse to asset, and it should open up wherever the blueprint is in your content drawer. You want to double click on that and you're going to see a bunch of these crazy coding nodes. Just click over to the viewport tab. On the left here, you can see the different parts of this blueprint actor. So we're going to go over to the body section. And then on the right, you want to scroll down and find the skeletal mesh. It should just look like some creepy floating hands. Go ahead and click this button to open that up. So if we go up to the character tab and go down to bones, you can click show all hierarchy. And now you can actually see what we're working with here. You also want to click the tab on the left and change from asset details to skeleton tree. Then we'll click over to the skeleton section here. You want to click this little cog in the top left and you want to click show retargeting options. And you want to make sure the root and the pelvis are both set to animation. Everything else should be set to skeleton. So if it's not, just shift select everything that isn't set to skeleton, right click it and click retarget to skeleton. So this is good. We're going to save this and we can close this window. Let's go back to our content drawer. Make sure we're in the root content folder. We're going to right click and we're going to go up to add packages, and you want to add in the basic third person setup here. That'll give you the necessary mannequin skeleton setup to be able to retarget from our MetaHuman over to our custom animations. Once you've done that, just go in your content drawer again, go to the search bar and just search up the letters RTG, stands for retargeting, and you want to find the RTG UE4 Manny to UE5. Go ahead and double click on that. Now for our target IK rig asset, you want to click the drop down and select IK MetaHuman. For our target preview mesh, you want to select the skeletal mesh that your Unreal Engine character is using. So in my case, it's M medium narrow body. Should be easy to find because it's floating hands and feet. You want to click over to this chain mapping tab. And there's going to be a small fix that we need to do here so that our retargeting will work correctly. So anytime you see a bone that says metacarpal in it, so for example, left pinky metacarpal, left ring metacarpal, go ahead and just set all of those to none. If you guys don't do that, whenever you do the retargeting, your hand and your fingers are going to be all jumbled up and crooked because Unreal Engine 5 has that extra bone and we're retargeting from an Unreal Engine 4 asset. So again, scroll down, make sure the metacarpals are all set to none, make sure you don't miss any of them, and we should be ready to retarget. So make sure you save this window before you close it. Let's go back to our content drawer, and I'm going to find that Orca animations bundle that we downloaded for free from the marketplace. Click open the folder of animations that you'd like to add in. So I'm going to go for the folder number 2. It has a bunch of useful ones here. Just click shift to select all of them, right click, and we're going to go up to retarget animation. So for that IK retargeter, we're going to set it to RTG UE4 Manny to UE5 Manny. For the source skeletal mesh, we're going to set that to SK Mannequin. And then for the target skeletal mesh, we're going to set that to the mesh that our MetaHuman is using. So again, that's the floating hands and feet. For me, it was male, medium, narrow body. So if you want to check to see if that worked correctly, you can go back to your blueprint actor. Again, right click, browse to asset, and double click. Go to body and skeletal mesh. And then from here, you can click on this little preview animation button, and you should now see all of the retargeted animations in this dropdown. Now, before we apply those retargeted body animations, let's go and record some facial animation with that live link. So we're going to go up to Window, Cinematics, and pop open the take recorder. And all you have to do here is select your blueprint actor and just drag that into the source box for your take recorder. Again, make sure live link is enabled like we did before. Make sure you're ready to perform into your iPhone the full performance of the song, and then go ahead and click record and sing your song into your phone so you can get that facial motion capture animation. Once you guys are done, just click the little stop sign. So you'll see it says recording complete. We now have that performance motion capture saved. So we have our face mocap ready. We have our body mocap ready. Let's go ahead and create a new sequencer, and then we'll add in together the body and the face motion capture. So go up to the clipboard, click to add a new level sequence. If you want the camera view, make sure you guys add the camera into the tracker as well. Next, let's go ahead and grab the blueprint actor from our object bin, drag that into our sequencer, and you're going to see a body tab and a face tab. Each of those are going to have a MetaHuman control rig. Now, what we want to do, since we've already captured preset animation, you want to right click on those control rigs and delete them. So make sure you guys do that so that our custom animation will load in properly. Now, to add in that custom mocap, we're just going to go over to the plus signs for face and body. So let's start with face first. Click track, go up to animation, and you're going to have a little drop down of all those animations from the take recorder. So this BP Me Scene 1 is my full performance capture from the take recorder. Just click that. And now if we scroll, you can see that performance that I recorded with Live Link. So this is super useful. Say, for example, you have two artists in a song. You can record the facial motion capture all in one take, and then you can use the take recorder to apply that facial mocap to separate metahumans. So it saves you a lot of time. You don't have to do multiple performances. You can just click another metahuman, do that same process where you click the plus on face, add in the take record, and then just cut it to the point where it's only them singing their part. Now to add in the body mocap, we're going to do the exact same thing we did with the face. We're going to click the little plus sign next to body, go to track, animation, and here is all of those retargeted animations that we did before. So I'm going to search for a AS talking animation. There's 5 of them, so I'll just select the first and we'll click play, and there you guys go, everything working correctly. Now, for any reason, if you're getting any errors here with the head detaching from the body, or maybe whenever you drag in your blueprint actor, you're not seeing the body as an option, you guys want to make sure before you do all this, you select your blueprint actor and you reset the default values for the animation player. I was getting an error from that earlier, and that was the fix for me, so I figured it's worth a mention. So just like that, we have our full motion capture performance with our MetaHuman without using any expensive equipment, all for free. Now all we have to do is render this out. So let's pop back over to our master sequence. We're going to click the little plus sign next to shots, and we're going to add in that performance sequence that we set up earlier. So there we go. You guys can trim this using that little red bar at the end to set the duration of your exported animation. Or again, you can go in, create more level sequences with different shots, different performances. So normally to export this, you just hover over this clipboard button in the sequencer, click here, and it'll open up the default exporter. But if you want a nicer, easier little render plugin, you guys can go up to Edit, Plugins, and search for the Movie Render Queue and just enable that. You're going to have to save your project and restart. You guys go up to Window, Cinematics, and Movie Render Queue. And this gives you a nice, easy to use little interface. If for any reason your sequence isn't in this job, just click the little render drop down, select the sequence you want in there. If it's in your master sequence, it should be there by default. So first off, you want to set your output folder here. This is where your full image sequence or movie sequence is going to be rendered to. You see right now by default, it's set to a JPEG export. If you guys don't want that for any reason, just select that and click delete. You can click your settings here, and under exports, you see all these different options for your exported formats. I'll go with PNG sequence. And then I also like to add in the anti-aliasing setting, and I like just keeping that at default. There's a ton of different render settings videos you guys can search for on the internet that are going to show you all different intricate things you guys can do with this. I'm just going to keep everything default so as not to confuse you. Again, if you want to tweak the overall final quality of everything, check out some full Movie Render Queue render setting videos. So let's go ahead and accept these settings and then just click Render Local. And you guys can see how fast this render really is. Flying through it, nothing sped up here. So let's go to the folder that I set as my output, open that up, and you guys can see each of the frames rendered out as a PNG sequence right here. So to get that from a PNG sequence into a actual video clip, you guys can use any video editing software, DaVinci Resolve, Adobe Premiere, Final Cut, whatever. All of those allow you to import image sequences as footage. So the way I like doing it, I like opening up Adobe Premiere, creating a new sequence. In my project bin, I'll click this little page here, and I like creating a transparent video clip to serve as a placeholder. I'll just extend that, and then I right click and click replace as After Effects composition. I like doing it in After Effects. Of course, you guys don't have to follow my way. You can import it using only Premiere if you don't want to use After Effects. Once After Effects opens up that linked composition, I just right click in my project bin in After Effects, import as multiple files, and then I select the first frame of my PNG sequence. That way, as long as that PNG footage is in my linked composition, I just have to save this After Effects project, go back into Premiere, and I have this dynamic link between Premiere and After Effects, so I can do my color grading and all that in Premiere. If I need to add any After Effects, masking, whatever, I can switch over to After Effects, make any changes, and once I save in After Effects, all those changes will show up in Premiere. So that is my workflow for creating music videos, cinematic animations. You guys can do short films, whatever you want to do. All right, guys, I hope you did enjoy this tutorial. If you make any cool stuff, send it to me on Instagram at maxnovak_ so I can check it out. If you want to see any more content like this, subscribe, comment down below, whatever you'd like to see. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting, and I'll see you guys in the next one.